Vamos a ver nuevamente. En vivo, simplemente en vivo y nada más. Ok, ahora sí me parece que estamos ready para el en vivo. ¿Cómo estamos? Muy buenos días. Osaliki con Cultura, tomándose un cafecito mañanero. Espero que ustedes también la estén pasando de maravilla. Tenemos varias noticias que queremos compartir con ustedes. Y me topé anoche con un caso, de esos casos un poquito difíciles, porque se trata de un André Brown, un joven, bueno, un señor, un hombre de 40 años, quien fue sentenciado a 22 años de prisión debido a un delito que alegadamente cometió hace en el año 1999. Ocurre que André Brown, en conjunto con otra persona, aparentemente, según dice la historia, eh, hizo un intento de robo cuando él tenía apenas 19 años de edad y siento como que el sonido está como bastante bajito, no sé qué pasa. Sí, un dos. Pues vuelvo y comento. Ocurre que este muchacho, André Brown, a ver si les pongo una fotico a ustedes de André Brown. Bueno, miren, este es André Brown. André Brown, a la edad de 19 años, alegadamente comete, según dice su récord público, alegadamente hace un intento tiene un intento de robo que aparentemente sale mal y se formulan unos disparos, dos personas quedan paralizadas, este señor queda arrestado y lo condenan a 22 años de prisión. Luego de eso, lo condenan a 40 años de prisión, disculpen, no, 40 años de prisión, de los cuales desde el año 99 hasta el 2022 cumple 22 años para 23 años en la cárcel, en una prisión estatal de la ciudad de Nueva York. Y en el año 2022, él es absuelto debido a una tecnicidad. Bueno, aquí tengo la parte de la historia. En el año 1999, André Brown, en aquel entonces 22 años, estudiante de universitario, es convicto de dos atentados, two counts of attempted murder in the Bronx, shooting that left two teenagers severely injured, one paralyzed and the other in long-term care. What happens then? He was sentenced to 40 years in prison. Sentenced to 40 years in prison. Mi gente, that's a long time. 40 years in prison. Brown always maintained his innocence. His attorney argued that original lawyer at the time, his original lawyer was ineffective and failed to present critical medical evidence. Namely, Brown had a serious leg injury and nerve damage that would have made it physically impossible for him to actually go after the victims. a central part of the prosecution's case that was not presented to the jury. Therefore, um, playing in a sense against Mr. Brown. So after multiple years of appeals and examination and re-examination of evidence, a judge vacated his conviction in December 5th, 2022. Um, in a few days, it's going to be 3 years since his case was vacated. So he spends Christmas with his family for the first time. He has a wife, he has a stepdaughter, and later this year, it happens that prosecutors actually overturned the vacatur. So the conviction reinstated. His conviction was reinstated due to a prosecutors appealed the decision in late 2024. An appellate court and reinstated Brown's conviction. So meaning that Andre Brown will have to Andre Brown will have to go back to prison to serve the rest of his 17 years. Imagínense ustedes, imagine that after you are, your case is vacated, you are pronounced, let's say, innocent, and then the prosecutors in, decides to appeal that sentence, that decision, and they win again. And then you face 17 years in prison again after you are already out. I believe that it's highly insane. It's crazy. Um, After spending 22 years in jail, he was supposed to spend 40. He's out at 22, and later due to a prosecution, he is reinstated back. He's expected to surrender himself and to serve 17 more years in prison. The decision to vacate the conviction and then the reinstatement and ultimately resentencing highly highlight the deep problems that, and I do agree with this, because who knows how many folks we have right now in the judicial system, in the jail system, serving time, and they are innocent because Andre Brown, Mr. Brown, he has maintained his innocence throughout his time. 22 years in prison, he has maintained his innocence. And it has to count for something, right? I do believe that sometimes the judicial system is not fair. It is not fair. It's insane. This man served time, and unfortunately was he served his time. That's him with his stepdaughter, um, little perrito. Here he is with his wife. Well, she's gorgeous. I had to say that. And so this is the timeline of events. So the shooting occurred in the Bronx. Two teenage boys, O'Neill Virgo and Sean Nicholson, were shot. Nicholson was paralyzed. Nicholson is paralyzed. Then after the trial, Brown has was convicted of 2 counts of attempted murder. and sentenced to 40 years in prison for attempted murder. 2 counts on it. Brown served 23 years in state custody, maintaining his innocence throughout his time. A Bronx judge vacated his conviction, concluding that his original attorney was ineffective and citing medical evidence. And citing medical evidence. This case is pretty insane. I believe that, well, then he says Brown was released. He spent his first holiday season at home in December 2022. Then in December 2024, a higher court, Appellate Division First Department, reversed the 2022 vacatur, reinstating his original conviction, reasoning that the ineffective counsel issue may have been strategic. Now, I would really like to discuss this further with an attorney or with a judge who would want to actually discuss this thing with me. I am not a judge. I do not know the law. I am just a journalist, and I do investigations and I bring it to you for consumption. So Brown was released. Then he spent time with his family in 2024. Then his conviction is reinstated, and then he has to surrender himself to serve the rest of his sentencing. But this is what happens then. So he faced a court order to surrender himself, to resume the remaining of his 40-year sentence, approximately 17 years. He filed clemency petition with the office of Kathy Hochul, and it was not denied, but it was not granted either. He was granted temporary clemency. Not sure why. What were the basis of doing so? But after 17 years, I am sure that he shows some kind of that he was different somehow. That whatever situation he might have had when he was 19, he sort of overcame that. He's no longer that man he was 19. He must be 40 plus years old. So in 2025, now a judge revisited his case and formally resentenced Brown to time served, meaning that now he does not have to go to court. He does not have to go serve the remaining 17 years, which is in a way a good thing, I suppose. However, the issue here is that he was resentenced to time served. He was not found innocent. So what I believe he's fighting now is the issue is that the prosecutors are reappealing that decision again. They do not want to let go of that case. He does not want to. They do not want to let go of that case, and not like to know why. So, a forthcoming resentencing hearing is expected to determine if Brown's freedom remains, because he's still fighting the case under his reinstated conviction, but with an adjusted sentence, meaning that time served makes him still a convict. It doesn't make him innocent. And he has maintained his innocence throughout his time. And if there are evidence that says he somewhat did not commit these crimes, because if he committed the crimes, he committed the crimes. But if he didn't, he didn't. And that's what the focus needs to be on making sure that justice is served properly and and fairly. But this is one of those cases that really caught my attention early yesterday, and I have to say, it's it's pretty insane, to be quite frank. Andre Brown still fighting his maintaining his innocence, and he is, and I really hope that this case gets cleared. I cannot imagine that someone after you serve 22 years in prison and then you're out and you're not in any way a danger to society. You are not um you haven't continued a life of criminality and stuff. He spent 22 years, majority of his adult life, in jail. And he has, I would believe that he has shown some sort of change in his life. He's no longer that man who goes out and try to shoot folks, right? Bueno, I have another. I have a very interesting story here because this is pretty interesting. So this story right here: a bald eagle drops a cat through a windshield of a woman in North Carolina. Imagine you driving your vehicle on the road, in this case 74, right? And not a not a rock, not a bird, a cat drops on your windshield and breaks it. How would you have reacted? I I think that's one of the most insane things to go through, and it's crazy. So what happens? This woman was driving in Route 74 in Swain County, North Carolina, near Great Smoky Mountains National Park. Had her windshield shattered when a dead cat crashed into it. A dead cat crashed into her windshield. So the driver calls 911 telling the dispatcher, "You may not believe me, but I just had a bald eagle drop a cat through my windshield." The dispatcher responded, of course, calmly, yes, I've heard worse. I do believe you. I do believe you. So the thing is that which of these eagles would go about getting cats? So this a bald eagle in North Carolina. The driver said the cat was dropped by bald eagle wildlife officials from wildlife officials from North Carolina Wildlife Resource Commission confirmed that bald eagles in the area are capable of carrying animals as large as cats. Imagine you driving in a bald eagle carry, not that it drops on your windshield, but that bald eagle, you see it flying over you with a cat. That must be a very astonishing scene. Crazy stuff, right? According to wildlife experts, the cat likely was roadkill, a common target for scavenging, rather than a live domestic cat, because live domestic cats are bigger and heavier, and also they tend. This is according to the articles. They tend to fight. They tend to be Well, they don't let themselves cut. They don't let themselves get caught. Apparently, these wildcats are a bit more thinner, and when they get caught, they say, "Hey, I'm just get caught. I'm not gonna fight. I won't fight this at all. God damn it! Oh my god!" Insane or not insane, super insane. Happens that 28-year-old driver identified in local coverage as Melissa Schraub said she had been driving the route every morning but never expected something like that. She recalled seeing the eagle carrying something, and seconds later, bloom, the cat crashed into her windshield. Wow, insane. Insane situation. So another on a different issue, two motorcyclists were unalived Friday night in Phoenix, Arizona, because I would say they're stupid. They did not think things through, and I don't know. Road rage in this country is crazy. So here's what happens. Occurred just before 11 p.m. on Friday near 7th Avenue and Interstate 17 in central Phoenix. According to the police report, two motorcyclists who were stopped at a red light, they got into a fight. And from what I understand is they got into a fight. Apparently they hit each other at the red light, get into an argument, then get into a fight. One of them takes out a gun and shoots the other one. But here's where this story gets way more interesting. A car driver who was nearby and witnessed the fight, who saw one of the motorcyclists taking the gun out and shooting the other one, gets hit by the car. So this guy who was witnessing the shooting, he decides that he decides to just drive his vehicle to where the motorcyclists are and just run over the motorcyclist who had the gun. So the motorcyclist who had the gun, who had shot the other motorcyclist, he gets hit by this vehicle, this car. So both of them, they both go to, they are both taken to the hospital, and then they both are pronounced dead at the hospital. One from the gunshot wounds, and the other one injuries that caused by the vehicle. So how nonsensical can that be? How crazy can that actually be? Um, so who is here at fault? Do you believe that the person in the vehicle who intervened by driving and hitting that other motorcyclist was in his right mind? Was he in the right to actually go and hit someone with a vehicle? Because I do believe that that is crazy. That is insane. And so, but the way this story develops is that the person who was driving the vehicle was detained. He was questioned. It appears that he gave out his statement, and then he was let go. He was not charged. He was not charged momentarily. The situation is still under investigation, but meanwhile, the guy is not considered um, a suspect or related in any way to any of the drivers or any of that. But this is insane. So here it says the victim shot during the fight was identified as 36-year-old Scott Kikes. The shooter, identified as 53-year-old Job Martinez, died from injuries sustained when he was struck by the car. So the victim shot during the fight, identified, he died as well. Both motorcyclists actually died. They were unalived for something stupid. That's insane. That is highly insane. Imagine you are on your way home and someone just bumps into you and you cannot contain yourself. You cannot, you go crazy because someone hit you. I understand that. But there are other ways of doing things. And I think that people get a bit too carried away about stuff. So let me see if I can pull this off. So much commercial. Man, let me go. Chispa adecuada. So here's a video of it. Let's see how it plays. Oh, this looks like a commercial. I don't know. Come on, Jake. Trying to get the story. Please do not. So here it is. Is that not crazy? So what do you guys think about that? That insane story. So was this guy in the right mind? In his right mind? So both victims in the end died, just not with us anymore. Insane stuff. Yeah, no, I get it. So moving on with better news. So here's this: a scientist in Indonesia found this rare flower, and I later understood why. So this guy finds this flower, and then he gets all worked up. So scientist sobs after discovering rare flower in jungle following 13-year-old hunt. So he has been hunting for this. He has been searching for this specific flower for approximately 13 years. And I'd like to play this for you. So here's the scientist. He's like just crying, but he's doing it out of emotions. He's crying out of this is a flower. It is a pretty strange flower. It only lasts um 2 weeks, and it stays alive for 2 weeks. It rarely shows. Okay, independent. Thank you. Thank you for your cooperation. So the rare a rare Rafflesia, I am not going to pronounce that. Flower was discovered in the Sumatra rainforest, Indonesia, following a 13 years research. The find was made on November 20th, 2025, by a research team which included Dr. Chris Torgood, an associate professor for the University of Oxford. This extremely rare plant species had not been sighted in the wild for over a decade, 13 years, right? Highlighting the significance of its discovery. Indonesian flowers hunters Septian, Deki, and a lot of stuff I can't pronounce. A member of the expedition was overcome with emotion upon locating the elusive bloom. I think this is cool. Don't you think? Wouldn't you agree? Wouldn't you agree, man? I think it's a good story. So as you know, we just Thanksgiving was just last week, and the goodness in people is always shown in their character and what they do for their community. So this group, a group of folks in Brooklyn, they decided that it would be a great idea to have a Thanksgiving dinner on the train. No, I'm not crazy. On the train station, not on the train station, inside the train, inside a moving train. So the story goes there like this. So this is true. So this group of folks, they decided, and apparently this is not the first time it happens. Different groups, they do different things. We see groups organizing dinners on the streets, organizing dinners at community centers, hospitals, hospices, you name it, schools, and and it is great stuff because we don't know who out there actually does not have any food to eat on a day like this. What happens here? They decided to actually go on the train, the L train in Brooklyn, and they set up tables. They set up their food, and they just invited people over to eat. Anybody who would ride the train at that moment in time, they could have just taken a plate and served themselves and just have turkey and salad and stuff, I suppose. What I am most concerned, I'm concerned about two things here. The issue with hygiene, we know the trains tend to be very dirty in a sense. How did they ensure people who were about to eat that food, that food was well cooked, tasted good, and there was no insects, no rats, no stuff, dust, or people passing by and speaking over the food and stuff. That's the only thing I feel that I would be uncomfortable with, that I would be skeptical taking that food. But there's a whole lot of people actually ate. Look at this. Wow, this is a great plate. I will be. But here's the issue. Some folks need nutritional education. What you see on that plate two types of pasta, rice, of course, meat, and there's something yellow that here that I have no idea what that is, what that could be, what that looks like. Looks weird. Let's put the whole picture there. You see this? Here, that. Um, I would say because in my culture we will eat that with food like yellow plantain. Here, this looks like mashed potato. This looks like elbow pasta. Here, this looks like I think it's cannelloni, some weird stuff. There's a lot of white rice, and I suppose this is meat right here. Okay, it's the same photo over and over. Look at this lady. She was like, "Okay, yep, let's have a plate. Let's eat it." Atlantic Avenue, the L train in Brooklyn. Thanksgiving dinner on the L train. That is crazy and insane, but it's fun. I suppose that my coffee. I don't know yours, but my coffee is delicious. Mi gente, I want to take this opportunity to thank you for being here. I also want to take this opportunity to invite you to go watch the latest episode of my podcast, Osaliki podcast, where I have this um, very insightful conversation with a fellow artist named Beto Cruz, who designed he designed this game. We played the game during the podcast. It's very interesting. I think that, and it's a game that suited for the whole family. It has different. He explains that step by step how to play the game with cards and also with dices. And I think that it's very interesting, educational. Number one, for young people, kids who are learning arithmetics, critical thinking, colors, numbers, letters. It is very educational in that end, on that sense. But also for adults, it's very, very entertaining and very fun game to play in a family setting. I think you would like it. But we also talked about Beto's prior projects, future projects, his life as a child. It's a very interesting and thoughtful conversation, very honest. And I think that you will like it. Support it. Go check it out. I'm going to leave somewhere here. I'm going to leave a link. Otherwise, subscribe and subscribe to the channel so that you can get the latest. I go live every morning at 7 a.m. between 7 a.m. and 7:30. Just to read the news, just to engage with people, whoever is here at that time. Support it. I'll see you here. It means a lot to me that you support what I do. I like to engage with folks, have conversations. If you one day want to come over, I'm not come over, but you want to come up and have a talk with me, I will be very happy to do that as well. So, just my final story. As you know, we went past Thanksgiving. We are now in pre-Christmas. Is December 2nd today, pre-Christmas. And as you know, every year, Times Square, December 31st, we have the ball that's being usually uplifted, and then the countdown comes down until it's 12. And it's a cool event. It's a cool stuff. If you have not experienced December 31st, New Year's on Times Square, I believe that you should. If you're in New York, I highly recommend it. Now, it can get very cold, bring in a lot of stuff, but the ball this year, according to an article, has been revamped. So this is the ball. It was like redesigned, revamped, and made better and stuff. I maybe I should be, I might be one of those people in there because I've been to Times Square on New Year's Eve 3 times, different places. I've been there. I've been in balconies. It's highly exciting, I suppose the word is. But I recommend it. So it has been redesigned and renamed the Constellation Ball. Wow. It's now larger than ever. 12.5 feet in diameter, weighing 12,000 pounds. Oh my goodness. Didn't know that thing was so heavy. It is very heavy. So instead of the old triangular crystal bowl, now the new bowl covers 5,280 circular waterford crystals, nearly twice as many as before. Crystal comes from 3 sizes: small, medium, and large, each with unique patterns. God damn it. Infinite beginnings. Infinite beginnings. So 2025-2026 celebration, the coming New Year's Eve, will use the Constellation Ball. This ball will descend from the top of the one Times Square at 11:59. It takes 1 minute until then we hit boom January 1st, 2026, New Year's. And then the old year is over. Over and over and over. Bueno, mi gente, it's all for today, this morning. I hope that you enjoyed this chat with me. Thank you so much. Do not forget to subscribe, like this content. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.